This video is all about the Enum module. The Enum module in Elixir is a collection of functions for working with enumerables, such as lists, maps, and ranges. It provides a wide range of utility functions for iterating, searching, sorting, transforming, and aggregating data. We are going to work our way through a few of the functions available to us by analyzing customer reviews. So let's go ahead and we're going to open up shopping cart again. We created that in the last video. So let's go ahead and just do command space Visual Studio Code. And mine went ahead and opened. If yours didn't, just do file, open folder, and find your project. We can close our shopping cart.ex, and inside a little lib directory, right click and say new file. Let's call this reviews.ex, and then just make a new module. So def module, and there we go. Let's first start by making a function that just returns a list of reviews for us, okay? And this is just going to make it easier for us to access them as we're testing things out. So def get underscore reviews, opening, closing parentheses, and then a do block. And this is just going to return a list with a bunch of maps inside. So our first map is going to have a key called rating, 5 stars, and then text. So our text is actually going to be the review, and we'll say, what a great product, comma, loved it. Boom. And then our last key is going to be a date. And for our date value, we're just going to do tilde capital D, and then inside of square brackets, just do 2023-01-01. All right, and put a comma there. And then let's go ahead and copy this, and we're going to make 4 more reviews. And I just don't want to. So 3, 4. So we'll have 5 reviews. Get rid of that last comma. And let's change the ratings. Let's have 1 rated 4, 1 rated 3, 1 rated 2 stars, and then 1 star. And let's change the messages too. We don't want them all the same. We'll say good, but could be better. And then our 3 star is going to be average experience. And our 2 star can be not what I expected. And then our 1 star, very poor quality. And then let's change our dates too. So let's go ahead and make this the 2nd of January, and then the 3rd of January, the 4th of January, and the 5th of January. So there we go. Now, if we save this and go into our terminal, command space terminal, and then cd to your project. Mine is on the desktop, and it is called shopping cart. And let's start up the Elixir terminal. So IEX space dash capital S mix. And now if we just do reviews.get reviews, we now get our list of ratings, which is nice and easy, right? Let's start off making a really simple function that just returns the ratings to us. Like, we don't want to get a list of all these maps. We just want a list of the rating value. So we can do that by just say, let's create a function called def get ratings. And this is going to take a list of reviews. And all we have to do here is do Enum.map. And now Enum.map is very similar to list.foldLeft function, but with no accumulator. So it just will iterate through the list, and it will do everything we wanted to do with our anonymous function on the end, okay? So then it just takes our list, which in our case is reviews, and then the anonymous function. And if we do a shorthand version, so we can just do the capture operator here, and then capture the first argument dot rating, and that's all we're doing. So if we were to write this as an anonymous function here, it would be fn review. I just realized we need to make that plural. That's our list that we're passing in. And then our review, and then dash greater than, and then we would just be returning review dot rating. And then don't forget the end. So honestly, I think we'll write it this way. I think it's just easier to kind of understand what's going on. It looks more like a loop when we're mapping through things. So let's go ahead and go back to our terminal. Now, if we recompile this and we say, okay, so we call reviews module, and then we say get ratings, and we pass in our, let's just set a variable to our reviews. So reviews equal the reviews module dot get reviews. All right, now we have reviews variable, and we can now call our reviews module get underscore ratings and pass in our reviews variable. And now we just have a list of our ratings, which is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that is map. We are just returning a single rating value. Another useful function would be to return the average rating, right? We can do that by get average rating and pass in our reviews list, and then a do block. And inside this, we're going to use the pipe operator again, like we just learned in the last video. And then we're going to grab the ratings like we just did in our get ratings. So if we start with reviews, this is just our list of all of our review items, okay? And then we can pipe into this with the cons operator greater than. And now what we want to do is just do Enum.map. And we don't have to pass in the first variable here like this. We can ignore it and go straight into our anonymous function, which is review and then dash greater than, and then we're just returning review.rating. Okay. Oh, I forgot the end. I always forget the end. Okay. So now reviews is being passed into this map function. And now to get an average, we're also going to need a sum. So let's pipe that in. And enum has a sum function. So we can do enum sum and then opening and closing. We don't have to pass anything in here because the values from the map above, all the ratings, are being automatically passed into our sum. So our sum takes a list of integers like that. And we're passing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. And then what's left is we need to divide by the number of reviews we have for an average, right? So cons operator, so another pipe. And now we actually do need to create our anonymous function here. And we need to have it in parentheses because we're not setting it to a variable and calling it later. So we actually need to do fn, and we need our first variable. We're going to actually have to do shorthand for this. So we could either make a function. Maybe that's what we should do. All right, let's make a private function. So def p, and let's call this divide reviews, something that we can't confuse. All right, and inside of this, we need to take, let's see, the total, and then we need to take, let's see, we need to pass in the sum and the reviews, and then we could do something like this. So sum divided by, and then we can use a built-in function called length, which returns the length of any list and pass reviews in. So in our case, we would get 5 back. So we're taking the sum divided by 5. And then we can do something like this. We can just call divide reviews. Whoops. It auto completed a do block. We don't want that. So we want divide reviews, and the first argument is sum, and that's automatically getting passed in. So we just have to pass in reviews here. And now if we go to our terminal and hit recompile.
Hi, I'm Jacob. I help companies build scalable, fault-tolerant systems in Elixir. With over a decade of experience, I specialize in solving complex technical challenges, whether that's architecting new systems, implementing real-time processing, or scaling existing applications. I work with teams worldwide to deliver high-performance solutions that deliver results. If you need help with your next Elixir project, visit elixirmentor.com to schedule a call.
And now if we call reviews.get average rating, and we pass in our reviews variable, now we get 3.0 back because that's the average rating, which is pretty cool. Now, if you don't want to write a whole function just to divide, so it's kind of difficult to use these normal operators without, so like if we use the div function, we would get whole numbers or integer numbers back and it could never be a float number, so that wouldn't work. So we actually do have to use the basic arithmetic divide here. But if you didn't want to write a whole function for that, we can actually use a shorthand function here, shorthand anonymous function. And the way we can do that is inside of parentheses, we can use the capture operator. And then inside of another set of parentheses, we can grab the first argument, which is sum. And then we can divide this by the length of our list reviews. And since we're not setting this anonymous function to like a variable, you remember you always have to do the dot and then opening and closing parentheses to call it. Now this will do the same thing as our divide reviews. So I'm going to delete that private function. We can save this, but see, like this is kind of hard to read. I personally think this is harder to read than having an extra function, but I just want to show you that it works. And so if we recompile and now call get average ratings again, we get 3.0 again. The Enum module is decked out with helpful things. We can even filter using Enum.filter. So let's say we want to create a function called filter ratings, and it takes our list of reviews and a rating. So let's say we pass in, we want all the ratings 4 and above, right? Well, we can do that with just doing Enum.filter, which is really cool. So now we just call our Enum.filter, and this takes the enumerable, which is our list reviews, and then our anonymous function, which in our case would be fn. And then as we're cycling through reviews, each individual one we'll call review, and then dash greater than, and then the whatever manipulation or check that you want to do. And in our case, we want to say review.rating is greater than or equal to the rating we're passing in. And then don't forget the end and then close parentheses. So now this will filter out everything within our requirements. So we're checking if we pass in 3, everything greater than or equal to 3 will be returned. So let's go ahead and go back to our terminal, recompile. And now if we call our reviews module.filter ratings, we pass in our reviews, our list of reviews, and let's say we want everything 3 stars and above, and there we go. We get our ratings 3, 4, and 5 back. So not only can we filter ratings, we can also sort ratings. And like, let's say we want to sort them from newest to oldest or oldest to newest. Let's go ahead and say def function, and then call it date sorted, and it takes a list of reviews. And so sorting by date is really easy. All we have to do is say enum.sort underscore by, and it takes an enumerable, which is our reviews list. And then we can just pass in our, let's just do a shorthand function here. And so we need our first argument, which is just review, and we want the date. And then the second one is just the order of which we want it to be returned. And we want it in descending order. So that means we'll get the newest at the top, and that is just an atom with DESC. And then let's save that. And now if we go to our terminal and recompile, and if we call our reviews module dot date sorted and pass in reviews, we should get them ordered, which I believe is the rating 1 to 5. Yes, because our most recent one is rating 1 and our oldest one is 5. And now if we want this to be ascending, so oldest first, we can just do ASC. See this option there? So atom ASC, and then save it back to our terminal, recompile, and call that same function. And now we're getting the oldest one to the newest one. So pretty cool. It's really simple to sort things by values. And if you did something that wasn't a date, it would alphabetical or numeric sort. And I'm sure you're starting to see how powerful the Enum module is for us and manipulating our data and just giving us usable, understandable things that we can work with. And let's close this video out by doing one more task. Let's find the top 5 words used in our reviews and how many times they were used. First, we would need to take the text from each review and put it in each word into a list. So to do that, let's just create a couple private functions. And first, let's make a function that would take our reviews and take each word from the text and add it to a list, okay? So I'm going to make this private. So word list, and it's going to take reviews. All this function is going to do is Enum.flat.map. A flat map is basically any embedded lists and things all get put to one level map. So we're not going to have any embedded lists, okay? A shorthand anonymous function here, and we're going to call string.split, and we want to split at argument 1.text. Oh, I forgot to pass in reviews, what we're iterating over. There we go. What's happening here is string.split will take one review and put each word as a value in its own list. But then using flat map will put the list in one list instead of having a list of lists, if that makes sense. And then from here, we're going to want to also downcase everything because we want to compare. If things have capital letters and lowercase letters, we're not going to match them. We're not going to match them together. So if we make sure all the cases are the same, then we can look for identical words. And so doing that, we can map through this list, and then we can do another shorthand function and call string.downcase, arity 1, because we're just passing single strings into this now. So this is going to give us a list of all the words in all of our reviews, and they're all going to be lowercase now. Now we have a list of words from all of our reviews. We can actually use a function called frequencies, and this will return a list of key values where the key is the word and then the value is the number of times it was used. Let's go ahead and make another private function here. So def p, we'll call this word frequencies, frequencies, if I can spell. And this would take our word list. So word list, and then in our do block, and then it's super easy. We just do Enum.frequencies and pass in our word list. And this is going to return, here we can look at the documentation. So each word becomes a key. So, and then every time this like ant shows up, it'll put a count next to it for 3. So let's say we have what up here 3 times, we would get 3 next to what. And so a key is only created once, and then a count is added to it when it appears more than once. We now have a function that takes everything from our word list, and then we get our count count values. And now we need to just get the top 5 values and return those. So let's make one more private function and we'll say top 5. And this is going to take word frequencies, word underscore frequencies, and then our do block. And all we have to do here is we want to make sure we sort it descending. So we want the most frequent value at the top, right? And so enum.sort by, so we can do word frequencies, comma, and then let's go ahead and do our shorthand anonymous function where we can take argument 1 because there is only one value, that's the count. And then we want to sort this in descending order. So at the top of the list then is going to be the most used words. And then we can do a pipe operator and say enum.take. And take will take, like in our case, if I put 5 here, it's taking the top 5 items of our list. And so we're passing in the list that's returned by sort by and taking the last 5. And so now let's tie all 3 of these functions together. They're all private functions. And so let's create a public function and call it most common words. And this is just going to take reviews and then a do block. And then what we can do here is call word list, pass in reviews. And then after that, we can just pipe in our word frequencies and then pipe in our top 5. And now we should get the top 5 words used in our 5 reviews. So let's go ahead and go to our terminal and hit recompile. And now if we call reviews dot most common words and pass in our reviews, now we get our list back with what for 2 appearances, very for 1, quality for 1, product for 1, poor for 1. So we first pass in our reviews list. We transform that to get a list of words, then the number of times each word was used. Then we grab the top 5 and return that as a list. I think you are starting to realize how powerful the Enum module is for us. This is a module we will be using a lot throughout any Elixir project. Take some time to play around and practice using everything you learned and explore the Enum module documentation for more functions you can use, and I will see you in the next video.